predestination. I am a Christian. Yes, it's exactly what we were talking about. We were talking about whether things happen for a reason or we just choose to be happy that things happen and make the best of things. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? Go ahead.
I'm going to play the devil's advocate here and just say that you do believe in predestination.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so how do I believe in predestination?
God has a plan. Correct?
Okay, but do I believe he has a set in stone plan?
Do we believe God is
Or
all
do I
powerful, all
just
knowing?
trust God? Yes.
Good. Therefore, that guide that you're just trusting to take you up a hill, even though you're not already up the hill, you're assuming that this guide is taking you. And every day could be different up the same trail, but he does it every day. It's a trail he built.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what's happening. That in itself defines predestination. You can't simultaneously God's plan, no predestination.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I do. But I think there's a difference between, Chelsea, you're going to end up taking the right road and then you're going to step on this rock and you're going to break your ankle and then this is going to happen, or you're going to, find this flower and then this is going to happen. It's going to be great. I planned it all out for you. This is what's going to happen. I think that's predestination. I think someone knowing that she's going to come to this fork and she's going to have the choices and she's going to choose to go this way is totally a different thing. It's not, I'm planning and I'm going to make it so that you go to the fork on the road, you're going to go this way and you're going to go this way. She's going to choose to go this way, and I can see the future. Just because I can see your future doesn't mean I'm controlling your future.
But you see, that is a bending of the rules if you are also the creator. That's a bending of logic to justify, because if you're watching something you can't control, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the creator. This is the one that made the path, made you, made the motions, created the ending, and then put you on this path that you are on a cart, basically. And my question to you is, why is stepping on one rock and not the other the same importance of a fork in the road? Where if you tripped, rolled your ankle, broke, slipped, you would call that an incredibly momentous moment in your life. And it was God's plan to get you there because you learned humility. And I'm saying, if you hadn't, you would have been like, God wouldn't have made me fall.
Right,
Blah,
so
blah, blah.
I'm not saying that it's God's plan for me to step on that rock. That's not what I say. What I say is, even if I step on the rock, that he really was like, oh, I didn't want you to step on the rock. But you stepped on the rock, and then I'm going to
God
use
doesn't
it.
not want something in the sense that, like, he already
That's
knows
free
what
will,
you're doing.
but that's free will. If he knows what you're doing, that's not... It doesn't mean he's going to force you not to. That's what I'm saying. So he's hoping, not hoping, he knows that you're going to, because he's all knowing, right? But he didn't want you to step on the rock. He didn't want you to be brutally abused. But because he's God and because he loves you, he's going to be like, this happened to you, and I'm going to use something so awful and create something beautiful out of it.
Right,
because
like
you're
he
allowing
did.
me to. Because you are choosing
This
to
is-
allow me to.
Right, but this is the same God that when Adam and Eve ate an apple, disobeyed one order, banished them. This is a pitiful, petty persona that we're embodying. And so I need this to try to come from that perspective as well, where he is wrathful, he is quick, he is envious, he is relentless, he is irrational, he is This is the God that, and this is why we
I
were
don't know
speaking
an
about.
irrational God.
Okay, but that falls perfectly into what I'm saying. The reverse justification of your life to prove the path was right is what allows that mindset. You falling down the rock, breaking your ankle, learning patience, learning humility and some compassion for people in wheelchairs, and then claiming it's God is a reverse appreciation of the moment.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying God caused me to trip on the rock so that I would learn patience. I'm saying because I tripped on the rock, he's like, okay, because you tripped on the rock, we're gonna get something good out of it. So at least now you can learn patience. Maybe that didn't need to be the way that it was. My life still could have been just as beautiful without tripping on the rock. But I think that if glass shatters, he can take it and build it into something beautiful, something broken and build it into something beautiful. Does it have to? No. Does he want that to happen? No, not necessarily. But that's free will. Things, yes.
Who claims to be able to then find context in the Lord's word?
Who claims to then find context in the Lord's word?
In the Lord's word.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, who is then interpreting the Lord's word in defining certain levels of credibility or not? Certain things that at one point were like, no, this is religious and historically true. And then it was like, oh, no, this is allegorical. And
okay.
It's like,
so now we're switching to talking to which stories are stories that are meant for lessons and which are facts. That's what you're asking. How does that tie to what we were just saying, though?
It ties to, you can't pick a certain verse. You got to read it in context.
Right.
Who's defining the context when it's all meant to be the word of God? God being infallible.
Okay.
Which is why he, all powerful, they, right? All powerful, all great, are predestining your life.
Okay. Going back, tying it all back to predestination.
Why are we picking and choosing the word of God? And why are you, fantasy footballing his verses?
Right. Right. And I don't argue with that. Because my own personal beliefs as far as whether or not the Bible is infallible. Oh my gosh, can we take a moment? I'm sorry, just look how she's looking at you. Whether or not it is infallible is something, as I've mentioned to you, but I've not mentioned on here, is something that I've been in deep discussion and research since college about, because my father and a professor at the college that I was at believe different things. My father believes it is infallible, is without error. My professor believed that it is man because it has human error. So it is with error. The point isn't whether or not the stories are all true or some of them are true. The point is the Bible as a whole. So it just doesn't discount whether or not the stories are true and some of them are not, and whether or not they are meant to tell a lesson or are all 100% true, doesn't discount the Bible as a whole to me. That is what I end up finding. And I could spend a lot of time researching and looking into whether or not.
Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you be curious to?
Yeah, and I think about it, and I have. But I also don't want to. And yeah, I should. Of course I should.
How strong was your faith in the Easter Bunny when you found out about Santa? Or vice versa? Or did you finding out that the Easter Bunny wasn't real kind of make you be like, wait a minute, what's going on with Santa and the Tooth Fairy? Because my question to you is, the whole Bible is all of that.
But whether or not the story is meant for a purpose or it's actually happened, it's not the same at all.
Exactly.
It's not the same at all as the Easter Bunny and Santa.
For you.
No, for
you.
Just logically.
For you.
Logically,
it
it's
is
not the
the
same.
exact same for me. I am sorry. It is a made-up human story, particularly, ideally with a purpose, ideally with some sort of reason.
So what that ties back to is whether or not Jesus existed, and I think that is the key of all of this. If the stories are all true for you, you're like, if the stories are all false, then Jesus could be false, and all of this is false, and all of this is just one beautiful story. But for me, based off of the evidence, at least that I've seen in my lifetime, and I've heard from very intelligent sources that are much more intelligent than I, and I've talked to many different people, I've heard atheist point. I grew up in Malibu. I've heard both points of view, and I've been, had hammered into me very, very intelligent atheist or agnostic or other points of view. And I've heard also very intelligent Christian points of view. And based off of all the different, because all we have, right, is what we look up, what we read, what we research, and who we speak to. That's how we receive information. Those are our only resources. Right. So based off of my human experience and the resources I've gotten from reading, from researching, and from humans that I respect, both non-believing and believing, in all categories. My conclusion has led me to believe that I have to believe from that evidence that Jesus did exist. And the stories may or may not have been true, but Jesus did exist as a human being and did say what he said and did do what he did. So that does not discount the rest of the Bible. The stories can be true or not. The man said them, whether or not he was meaning to say them as they are true or see them as a lesson, doesn't discount his existence.
The entire principle is the entire principle of your belief is the word of the Bible is true and it is the Lord's word. And from there, you're nitpicking as humans, and you are assuming when it's all there.
Right.
From the don't kill, don't, cheat, to the slavery and the, beating and oppressing of your wives. Why are some better than the others?
Right.
And how do you make that call?
What I'm hearing still is that you are going straight to the book. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about the book. It is the Bible. It is the Word of God. But you are totally discounting Jesus. The book doesn't matter without, there's no book without Jesus.
There's no Jesus without the book.
That's where
there's no importance to the character of Jesus without the parables and prophecies of the past written on the Old Testament, which now you discredit as a whole.
No, I'm not discrediting it as a whole. I'm just saying that if you don't, that the whole of my faith is, and Kristen mentioned this, and I really appreciated the way that the vernacular she used in that, is that it's a relationship with a person and a God, and Jesus is a person of that God, and the book is something that was given to us as a tool, but the book is not God, and it is the Word of God, but it is not Jesus. And you're putting the Word of God above God.
Right, there would be... No. I think you are misunderstanding where you get God from. The entire principle of where you understand God comes from this book. Had this book not been here, you would not be
There are
this.
plenty of people in other countries
None.
who get God without the Word of God.
Which to me shows how universally a human connection it is to just experience joy and different euphorias, none of which
Or a higher power.
are a higher power. Because you cannot then attribute it unless you start then just continually expanding the Word of God on assumptions. It's my point. Oh, this person that never understood God is just so kind, has never been shown any Christianity, is just so kind, so loving. Understand
That's
this
not
family.
how I see it. I see it as, wow, this person understands a higher power even more than I do.
Yeah.
Because they were made from a higher power and they just get it.
Watch you craft your narrative into just human consciousness, a different human experience, a Satanist, I mean, I'm personally a big believer that the Satanic Church does more, and Kristen said this, we had this talk before, right, than the Catholic Church is doing, realistically, than the Christian churches are doing.
Most people do more than the Catholic Church is doing.
Than the Christian churches are doing. I mean, just as a whole. What I'm asking is this. How are you justifying? Or you're telling me I'm not able to see Jesus within the Bible.
No, I'm saying...
Or through the Bible.
You're saying, I don't know if Jesus exists or not, and then you're jumping right to the Bible and putting him above the Bible.
Where else? Where else?
History. The fact that
Show
he existed or not.
Point it to me. I mean, please show me an article that is not biblical, that speaks of a Christian Jesus doing in comments.
So,
please put it down there. All right?
Please
I
do.
dare you, bitches, because you
Don't
can't do
flick
it.
off our audience.
Love y'all. But I cannot expect you to show me historical
So
biblical
in the next
proof.
episode with the Christian and the atheist.
No, the devil and angel on your shoulder.
There we go. We will be presenting proof of Jesus' existence, because in the end of the day, it looks like that's what it comes down to. Okay, bye!